Thanks for taking time to listen to this episode of the Real ResQ podcast. Take a minute to go to therealrescue.com to check out these and other great deals from our sponsors here at the Real ResQ. This episode of the Real ResQ podcast is brought to you by Breeze Eastern, the world's only dedicated helicopter hoist and winch provider. Axness, because when lives are at stake and conditions are challenging, clear communication is of the utmost importance. SR3 Rescue Concepts, because you don't know what you don't know. And rescueswimmershop.com, official high-quality apparel featuring the silhouette. Breeze Eastern, they dedicate themselves to our helicopter rescue world. Since the very first helicopter rescue in November of 1945, Breeze Eastern has designed and manufactured superior rescue hoist solutions. While much of the technology and the unique mission requirements have changed over the past 75 years, their commitment to the rescuers, the operators, and those being rescued has not. Contact them today by visiting them at breeze-eastern.com. The Axness PNG wireless ICS system can bring cutting-edge wireless intercommunication system technology to any aircraft. The PNG system can be fully integrated into an existing ICS system or can be carried on and off as a mobile base station. They can go anywhere at any time on any aircraft. Plus, with the strongest and most robust waterproofed handheld on the market, this system can take a hit and keep working. Their wireless intercom systems are designed to enhance situational awareness through improved communication capability. This system brings superior noise canceling technology to eliminate rotor wash and engine noise from your ICS. The Axness PNG wireless system is currently deployed in more than 1,800 public safety, air ambulance, and search and rescue aircrafts worldwide. I have personally used the Axness system in 4 different countries and on 5 different airframes. It is awesome. If you want more information, contact them today at axness.com. That's AXNES.com. You just make sure you tell them Quinny sent me. SR3 Rescue Concepts is a training company that can help your helicopter training. They train daytime, nighttime, aerial firefighting, hoist, longline, fast rope, rappel, and more. They can assist your program with standardization and safety checks or just an FAA annual refresher. With the certified flight instructor pilots and experienced crew, they are ready to help your agency keep up to date with current techniques, rules, regulations, and equipment. Plus, right now, SR3 is offering 10% off anything in their web store with the promo code, all capital letters, Real ResQ, REALRESQ. Plus, they are offering another 10% from their partners Petzl and their equipment. All you got to do is send an email to info@sr3rescueconcepts.com. Mention this podcast, the Real ResQ podcast, and they'll take care of the rest. And 15 years ago, photographer and Coast Guard rescue swimmer number 526, Chris Razok, created an iconic photograph. This photograph depicted the silhouette of a helicopter rescue swimmer reaching down for an outstretched hand in need against the American flag backdrop. The image went viral and became a symbol worldwide for the rescue community and the people they help. Its wild popularity inspired Chris to launch rescueswimmershop.com, a web store offering official high-quality apparel featuring his evocative image, the silhouette. T-shirts, hats, patches, and stickers featuring the silhouette are available at rescueswimmershop.com, including the flagship design So Others May Live. Follow Chris and his story on Instagram with the handle @RescueSwimmerShop. And if you are a rescue swimmer, support rescue swimmers, or just tell people you are one at the bar, this gear is definitely for you. When you get to the website, rescueswimmershop.com, enter the promo code, all lowercase, one word, RESCUE, RESCUE, for 10% off your order. Up next, we don't just have one guy telling stories, we've got two, which is awesome. So in this episode, we've got two guys from the Belgian Air Force, both rescue divers, and both of them come with some just incredible stories as what they're doing in Belgium. So please welcome our next guest, Mr. Kurt de Boeck and Filip Windles. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Real ResQ. I have got a first. I love our first here at the Real ResQ because when I get a first, we get to hear all these cool, badass stories from all over the globe. And these guys, Mr. Kurt the Boeck, yeah? All right, I got it right.
Correct.
Mr. Filip Windles. And they are SAR search and rescue divers from the Belgian Air Force. What is up, brothers? How are you?
Hello, Jason.
Hello, Jason.
Man, I am stoked you guys came on today. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited about talking about some of these stories you guys do out there. So thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. All right. So let's start out right from the get-go. Let's find out a little bit about you guys. So Kurt, if you don't mind, let me start with you. A little bit of background about you and how you got into the Belgian Air Force and into rescue diving.
Okay, so my name is Kurt de Boeck. I'm 49 years old. Joined the military when I was 17. That was in 1990, so a long time ago. And before that, I used to do competition swimming. And, you know, in those days when we wanted to earn some money and you got the right age, we became a lifeguard. So we could work during the holidays and in the weekends. When I entered the military, I became a physical training instructor. Nice. And in that kind of workplace, I could become an instructor in life saving. So when I came from competition swimming to an instructor in life saving, the step was quite easy to try to become a search and rescue diver. So that was in 2010 when I started my training, and I became a search and rescue diver in 2012.
So actually, 10 years ago. Wow, that's not too bad. So you've been doing this for a little while.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Right?
Almost 11 years of this year, yeah.
Cool. So out of curiosity, what was your time for your 500 meter?
500 meters? We don't swim any 500 meters. We swim 400 or 1,500 meters or 100 meters.
Okay. All right. Whatever. All right. Let's go with your.
What do you want to know? On 100 meters, it was 54, but that's a long time ago, right?
54 seconds for 100 meters? Good night.
Freestyler.
You know what? I might be able to just stay a little bit behind you.
Not anymore, Jason. Not anymore.
No. It'll be you and I. Well, I'll get in the pool with you. I'm not scared.
No. I mean, I don't swim under the minute anymore. That's a long time.
No. Okay. All right. You know what? I don't think I swim under a minute anymore. Man, that is hauling. Good for you. And then I know you said to make money as a lifeguard, but we all know it was to pick up girls. I mean, it's all good.
Well, okay, you got me there. Sorry.
Oh, that's funny. Awesome. Right on. Well, that's killer how you got into it. All right, Mr. Filip, a little bit of background about you and how you got into the Belgian Air Force and then into rescue diving.
Well, for me, I came in the military and the armed forces as a very young guy. I went to school in like you say, your high school. You can do it in the military. I did this. Then afterwards, I was an NCO, a sergeant in protection and security of air bases. Afterwards, I applied also for physical training instructor, and then I did my first course diving in '93, because before that, all SAR divers were Air Force PTIs, Air Force physical training instructors. It is a little bit a legacy. And I was the last one from that PTIs in the Air Force who became SAR diver. So I applied, I think, somewhere in the 90s, and I was admitted in the diving school, in the Armed Forces diving school in 93. So from 93 on until 2021, for 28 years, I was a SAR diver in the 40 Squadron, because in the Air Force, we are the only SAR squadron in the Air Force. It's the 40 Squadron in Kokzijde, and I stayed over there for 28 years, and I did all different, from beginning as a SAR diver to an instructor SAR diver, chief instructor SAR diver, and I ended as a chief SAR diver in the squadron.
Wow, well done. What a great career. 28 years. How's the body holding up? You doing all right?
Yes, sometimes it's difficult getting up in the morning. But again, you feel it. 28 years gets in your clothes, so you feel it sometimes. Elbows, knees, but the spirit is it's still the same.
I love it. I love it. You made a comment about being in high school in the military.
Yes.
Is that I've never, like, I know, like, we have similar stuff in the US where you can go to like a ROTC while you're in high school, but it's not high school in the military.
Yeah.
I don't think it is anyway. Not that I'm aware.
When I was a young guy, you could ask to go in the military school. It's the NCO school, and you could enter that from your 15 years on. You did 3 years, and then you went to your specialty. But it was possible as an NCO technician in another school, or as a non-technician that I did, you could enter at 15 years of age.
Wow, man, that is pretty cool. I didn't know that. And both you guys were physical instructors, so
yes,
the PT instructors. That's awesome.
Yes.
So personal, like kind of like a personal trainer is what I'm gathering.
Well, we did the same school. In Belgium, there is only one military school that provides that train physical training instructors. It's not like personal trainer, but it is especially to train like a section of peoples or 30 guys in military sports.
Awesome. Wow. All right. So now a couple questions that before I get into some of your first rescues and some of the other memorable rescues. Give us a little brief about like what the rescue diver is, because, and I know from US Coast Guard, so I'm going to base it off that. US Coast Guard, we are surface swimmers only. So we don't do tanks. We're not diving down, and our training is pretty intense in the pool. So what is well, I want to get into training later, but what is your job description? Like, is it just surface swimmer, or what do you?
It's actually the same as the rescue swimmer, except that where the rescue swimmer stops on the surface of the water, we go down as well. If it's necessary, we have always our diving gear in the helicopter, and we dive during a mission if it's necessary.
Wow.
So we're all qualified master divers.
Okay. Wow. Straight up master divers. Oh, that is cool.
Yes, because we have to be able to dive alone.
So we are the only military divers also that can, in a case of a search and rescue operation, who can dive alone. So we first do the recce. You have to be adult enough and mature enough to know how far you can go. So, but we are allowed to dive alone in a search and rescue operation.
Wow. Oh, that's a trip. I didn't know. That's pretty cool. And that's pretty cool for multiple reasons. Now, like I'm a paddy dive guy, you know, like I think I got it off the beach right here, but they were like, never leave your buddy. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, first time I go under, I'm like kicking and he's like, can't keep up. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I need my buddy. But you guys can dive alone. Wow, that's intense. That's awesome. Cool. Have you guys had to do that in rescues, like actually dive alone?
Yes.
Have you really? Wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If I didn't tell you guys I'm excited to have you here, I am stoked to have you here. This is awesome. All right. I'll tell you what, Filip, let me get to you. You've done this for a long time, 28 years. Do you remember your very first rescue?
Yes, I remember him. It was a casualty on a boat. So don't know. You have to know that Belgium has a very small beach line. It's only 65 kilometers. But in front of Belgium, we have one of the most dense traffics of cargo ships in the world. Everything that has to go to Northern Europe or to the States will navigate between the UK, France, and Belgium. So we have a very dense transport. So a lot of our rescues will be on big cargo ships. So the first one I did was on a cargo ship where we had to go, and they said, "So okay, somebody is ill. You have to go over there." So we arrived on the ship with the medic, and what did we find? Somewhere in a little room, a fat guy, a Bulgarian, and
fat guy.
A fat guy, a Bulgarian, and I looked to the guy. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, we arrived here, and he was dead. So we asked to the guys, "Yeah, when did he die?" Okay, we cannot. We have to reanimate, do reanimation. So we began to reanimate the guy, but of course, afterwards we knew he was already for hours dead. We took him, we put him on the ground. I started to reanimate. I broke immediately his bone here,
sternum.
Sternum. Yep. Immediately after the third time, his sternum was broken because there was no tension anymore on the muscles. It was a very fat guy. All the fluids were already out of the body. So we had to transport on our little stretcher. We had to pull him. I think the guy was something like 115, 120 kilos. I think it's 230 pounds or something like this.
Yeah, at least.
So from three levers on little staircases, it took us a half hour sweating and shower and pulling for what? Initially a dead guy, of course. So I did the hosting with the stretcher. We continued to do the reanimation in the helicopter because we have to do it until we arrived in the hospital. And I still know every time we did reanimation, fluids came out. The guy was, I think, 8-9 hours dead. But that was my first scramble, my first rescue I ever did. That was the first one.
Wow. All right. For clarification, reanimation is CPR.
CPR.
Cardio resuscitation. Yep. That's
yes.
So reanimation. If you guys call it reanimation, that's cool. I just want to make sure all my buddies in the States are like,
CPR.
oh yeah,
CPR. Sorry.
Got
CPR.
it.
To reanimate, not to animate. No, CPR.
I love it. Fluids coming out of every orifice, and you're like, yeah, this is gross. What a way to have a first case, man. All right, Kurt, let's come to you. Do you remember your very first case?
Yes, I do. But actually, it's not that as spectacular as Filip one. But I do remember it not because of the intervention itself, because to be honest, I don't even remember if it was a simple pickup or a stretcher pickup. But what was special about it is that I was under training. I still wasn't a qualified search and rescue diver yet, and that's why I'm looking at Filip right now. He probably has no idea what I'm talking about. But we were on a training mission. I was still a student, and he was my instructor.
You and him? Oh,
yeah. He was my instructor, and suddenly we get a call in. There was an intervention, and they asked, "Can you do the intervention?" And I said, "Okay, we can do it. We still have enough fuel." And then what normally happens is the UT, the under training, puts himself in the back of a helicopter and just watches and learns, and for the rest doesn't touch anything or do anything. And it's the instructor diver who becomes the search and rescue diver, and he will execute the mission. And in this case, he looked at me and he said, what's the mission? Okay, you have it. And I was like, what? You have it. And he just put himself in the back. I said, what do you mean? You have it, it's your mission. But I wasn't qualified yet. So I wasn't prepared mentally to do anything from a search and rescue mission. So it wasn't the most difficult scramble intervention I did, but it was quite stressful because you have your instructor looking all over your shoulder. So he came down on the ship with me, and all he did was, what are you going to do? Okay. What are you going to do now? Okay. So that was my first search and rescue mission.
All right, Filip, did you qualify him after that? Did you check him off?
I don't know, but normally not. I'm not the one who will cut corners.
No. All right, in that case, Kurt, how did you do? Did you do all right with that one?
I qualified, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, good.
He didn't look happy, but he was happy anyway. Instructors never look happier.
Wow, what a first case, and with your instructor, man, that's pretty awesome. Another question: medical training. What do you guys go through for medical training? Are you guys full paramedics or?
No. We have an emergency nurse on board.
Oh wow,
so
cool.
if we go on board of a ship, we're always two of us. We have the search and rescue diver, and we have the medic, a paramedic or an emergency nurse who comes down with us, and they are responsible for. Of course, we are qualified as lifeguards, and we have basic paramedic training. So we assist in CPR, for instance, and we assist the medic itself. But the person who is responsible on board for that is the medic himself.
Wow, very cool. All right, so now I'm going to go one more question before I get into a couple more stories. What aircraft do you guys flying on currently?
An H-90.
Oh, the H-90. Oh, big aircraft. So you guys are flying with a crew of 5, 2 pilots up front, the winch operator. Is that what you guys call him, the winch operator?
Cabin operator.
Cabin operator.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cabin operator, and then the paramedic or the flight nurse, and then the rescue diver.
Yes.
Wow, that's cool. Man, I love a 5-person crew. I think it's amazing.
Well, we used to be 6 persons.
Yes.
We come from the seeking helicopter, and there was still a navigator inside of the helicopter, extra.
What was that helicopter that you guys filmed?
Seeking helicopter.
Oh, the Sea King. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's right. The Sea King did have an extra guy up front. I totally forgot about that. That was actually in one of the videos you had sent me when they made the movie about you guys, which is Filip. Yeah, you were in that movie. Woo!
Yes. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Hey, you know what? We're gonna tell Butch Flythe to he's got competition now because Butch Flythe was in the Guardian. So Filip, you've got, or we're gonna have to just tell him he's got to run for his money.
Yes, of course.
Let's go, Hollywood. All right, very cool, very cool. All right, so let me come back to you, Filip. There are a couple of cases that you mentioned to me that you remember, and one of them being a capsized, what you thought was a fishing vessel that you guys get called out on. What was that?
So I think somewhere in the end of 1995, we were called out for, they found a ship capsized early in the morning. And what happened when we went over there, it was not a fishing boat. It was a dredging boat from, I think, 85 meters long and 15 meters wide. And it capsized during the night. So eventually when another ship saw it early in the morning, it was already 10 hours capsized. So when we arrived
10
there,
hours.
Yes, it was a big ship. It lay minimum 4 or 5 meters out of the water. And okay, the pilot says, okay, guys, and the fact that we knew already that it was a capsized ship, we were at that time 2 divers already in the squadron. The pilot says, okay, I will take 2 divers, take your gear, and we see when we arrive there with the fishing boat, we will see what happens. So we arrived, we saw the ship. Whoa, okay, they winched us down. Are you ready? They winched us down with our tanks, air tanks. And I noticed when we got in the water, the smell of fuel, a lot of fuel on the water. And I said to my buddy, I said, we are not going to do some crazy things here. So the first thing, we went down up as deep as possible because the ship is capsized. That means the bridge will be the deepest point. When we entered the bridge, we immediately found the captain dead. He was floating against the floor because the ceiling at that moment was the floor because it's capsized. We took him out. We gave him on the surface to a rescue boat. We dived again. We began to search every room on every level because there were 3 levels. Thus, you have to take into account, you have to push every door. You have to put some pressure on it to get in a room. After 40 minutes, our blocks were empty. So our tanks, we came up, they gave us new tanks. We dived again. And after 10 minutes, we found 4 guys underwater in a big air bubble.
No way.
Yes, they were already sitting there for 10 hours.
10 hours underwater in an air bubble?
Underwater in a big air bubble.
Oh my God.
The bubble was huge. It was almost a total a room. The guys already went 10 hours there. 2 of them wrote their will on a paper. They were over there. They were sitting in their survival suits. So I talked to them underwater. I talked to them like we are talking now. And I said to them, are you aware that you have to leave with us on our air tanks? And they looked at us, yes, we are going to take you to the different corridors, to the different levels on the water, on our bottles, outside the boat. So we gave them very quickly a briefing in 2-3 minutes. And I still remember I took the first guy, the youngest guy. They had to take off the survival suit because it's too much buoyancy. They were in their underwear and in a t-shirt on our second first stage breathing system. And I took him underwater. I said, do you know where you are going? No. I said, how long do you already work on the ship? 2 years. So I said to him, you know where we are going. But as the ship was capsized 180 degrees, he was disorientated. So I took him underwater. We went to the different levels and we went out. It took us like 2-3 minutes of diving up, and I gave him to another rescue boat. We went in, and I think within 25 minutes, we took all 4 guys underwater on our air tanks out of the ship to the surface.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy.
In the North Sea. So it's not blue water, it's not Curaçao,
no visibility.
It's not the Mediterranean. You have maximum 1 meter of visibility.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I can't believe you found that many people like inside the ship.
We found 5, 1 dead, of course, the captain on the bridge, the deepest point, and then a few levels above, like normally under, but above the bridge, we found 4 guys in an air bubble in one of the levels.
Wow. That is crazy to me. Wow. All right. So I have multiple questions out of this. So when you guys go diving like into a structure like that, do you tie like a piece of line or something on? So
yes, no. When it's a big ship, you will do it. But in a like a fishing boat, you will not do it because it's small. But normally, yes, you would take a line with you. A body line, a long safety line that is on a roll. Like it's like 40-50 meters. You go inside, but what is most important that you don't look to the distance that you do, but what you agreed with the captain of the helicopter, with your pilot. If you go down, because there is no communication between the helicopter and you go down the ship and you are gone. So, but if, for instance, if you say to the pilot, once I go down, stopwatch is in, I will come up within 15 minutes. So you have to stay, watch your diving computer, that you come up certainly after 15 minutes. So they know you are doing well. If not, if you stay too long underwater, they will raise the alarm to get other divers in place.
Wow. Okay.
The helicopter is actually our diving platform at that moment.
That is awesome. You just got a helicopter just like chilling out, waiting for you. That's amazing.
He has to wait. He cannot fly away. No. If you are diving, he has to stay on the same level, the same place, because he knows that you will get out on the same way you came in. So he has to stay over there. And I have colleagues of mine who are also retired away. They did it at night. The ship is laying around. They go in at night and they come up at the same spot.
Holy smoke! That is crazy. That is awesome. That is just amazing to me. Is what that is. Wow. All right. So next question. With diving. So here's what I know of diving, and again, I'm basic level, whatever you want to call it, recreational. safety stops, like how do you, I mean, I assume you get all your safety stops coming up. Is that something that you worry about? And then in your increments, follow-up question, how long are you staying at the surface before you re-enter to go into your dive?
Well, safety stops is not really a problem in these cases because we don't go down that deep. These are ships who are capsized. If it's a search for a diver, lost diver, for instance, that's something else. That's something else. Yes, on a wreck, which happens also. Then we just do a single dive. And if it's necessary to do multiple dives, there will be other divers coming on the spot. If it's a wreckage, if it's a capsized ship, you can do multiple dives. You can go in and out, like Filip just told you, retrieving multiple victims. That is possible because you go like maybe maximum 10 meters underwater, and you don't stay that long underwater. When I did my diving mission in the capsized ship, we stayed in there for like 30 minutes, but the ship was a small fishing vessel, so we did the entire boat, and when we left the boat, it was finished. It was a single dive. But if you go deeper, then it's a single dive. If it's just the capsized ship, you can do multiple diving. That's the idea of it, the theory.
Got it.
Yeah, so when for instance, a diver is missing or two divers are missing in recreational diving on the North Sea, they are on a wreck. They say, okay, the guys went down, like for instance, the wreck is at 30 meters or 35 meters. You will go down on the same rope as they were. You do a brief search, you come up and it's finished. The other divers will come in.
And we take a guideline with us. To the wreck, we take a guideline with us. And we attach the line on the wreckage. And then you can follow the line the rescue divers already did. And the second team will see, okay, they did this part of the wreck. We will do another part.
So don't forget, in front of the North Sea, you have a lot of wrecks from the First and the Second World War. A lot of them who are also very known as diving spots, but every year we have some casualties on wrecks. It's don't forget the North Sea, a lot of current. It's sea green, not so warm water with a lot of tides. The current is very. You only have maximum 1 hour of diving. Your diving window is maximum an hour. So some guys are missing. And then it's, if you dive on it, some wrecks are on 35 to 40 meters. You do a brief search, and then you come back to the surface.
That's the difficulty in the North Sea when you do a search and rescue diving mission for a wreck. Is the divers, the recreational divers, were diving during the window. When you arrive as a search and rescue diver, you're always outside of the window, which means that the current is always way too high. So that's a bit the difficulty of
sometimes you dive, you go down, and you have 1.5 to 2 knots of current. So you have to pull yourself down to the wreck, shelter in the wreck or next to the wreck to do your search.
Not always the best conditions.
Yeah, definitely not. Man, you guys, this is insane. This is awesome. I'm loving all of this. All right, so Filip, if you don't mind, let's go to another one, because you had another, like a fishing vessel in force 9 winds.
Yes.
So that was.
I think it's only something like 6, 7 years ago, in the beginning of the NH90. So we were transferring from the Sea King to the NH90. So at night we were called out for a fishing vessel, and we were very surprised because it was force 9 of wind. What is a fishing vessel doing over there? So the information that we got was no steering anymore, no motor, no power anymore. So when we arrived at that time, luckily we already had the night vision goggles to find the ship, and it was when we looked at it, a wooden boat, not very tall. We were saying, wow, what is happening here? So the cabin operator, after a lot of attempts, pulling me on the ship, putting me on the ship, pulling me off again, throwing me on the ship, pulling me off in the water again. After like 5 minutes, after 4 or 5 times hitting the ship, I was on the ship. I immediately used the highline. I had the highline with me. We immediately did the highline procedure. I gave one of the crew, I gave the highline. I said, stay here. I went then to the bridge. I found five guys. Okay, very odd. Okay, wooden fishing boat, very weak structure. At that moment, when I got outside again on the deck, I saw what is happening here. The wire, the hoist cable was around the ship on some structures. I said, what is happening here? I took it off. The rope disappeared up to the hoist. What happened? The hoist cable was damaged. So what I didn't know that the hoist cable was damaged. It was the ship, I think somewhere like 4 or 5 waves of 4 or 5 meters. I said, what is happening here? Okay. They, at that time, a Dutch from Holland, a Dutch rescue boat was coming in. They told me, yes, the helicopter cannot retrieve you. He would put on his lights to show some lights on the ship, and we will come and get you. So a big rescue boat against a little wooden fishing boat. So it was an adventure. Eh? Eventually, I could throw the 5 men to the rescue boat. At that time, I was able to jump from the little fishing boat onto the rescue boat. Okay, the Dutch guys, we speak the same language, Flemish Dutch. Afterwards, we went to a military harbor. It took us like 45 minutes. The ambulance, the rescue services were there. They took them to the hospital, and for us, the story was finished. Afterwards, the fishing boat stranded on a beach in Holland. And what did they discover on the boat? 150 kilos of coke, drugs. So for me, I missed the drugs. If not, I was early retirement with 150 kilos of coke.
It was either that or early to jail. I'm not sure
early
which.
to the jail. So, but again,
Probably the second.
You risk your life to get 5 guys from a fishing boat. You think, okay, they need help because one of the guys was wounded a little bit on his head. And then afterwards, you hear it were drug traffickers. Perhaps at that time, they had a rendezvous with a big ship in the sea that they had to be at that date, at that point, to retrieve the coke. But okay, they could not know that the weather was so bad. So the fishing boat was stuck. So you see, yeah, it's an adventure.
This is why I love this job so much. You never know what you're going to get.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. All right, Kurt, let me come back to you because you have a rescue, which was kind of interesting with a bunch of refugees. What is that?
Well, you know, Belgium is just next to France, where you have Calais going to England. So a lot of refugees try to make the pass from Calais to England, but with the current, they end up quite often in our region as well. Now, we'd also do a big part of France as well. So we were called in to do, it was clear weather. We call it D-Day. So that means nice weather, calm sea, and a lot of boats, they know it. A lot of boats try to get to the other side. So we called in to look for boats. And what we do is normally is that we localize the boats and then call them in for the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard goes to the boats and then do whatever they do. You know, they put them back on land, see everybody is okay. This happens a lot during certain times of the year where the sea is calm. Now, in this case, we flew out to a section, a region. We got a search zone, and our co-pilot said on our way, "Hey, didn't I saw a couple of people on the buoy?" And we were like, "What buoy?" So we made a turn, and it was quite a high buoy, but very small. And there were 2 people in a very small spot on top, on the waves. They were going forward, backward. It was, oh my God, what are those guys doing there? So we said, okay, let's get them out. They were waving to us. Let's try to get them out. It wasn't that easy because it was moving a lot. Yeah. So it was quite tricky to get both of them out of the top of that buoy, but we managed to do so. And when our medic took their temperature, they only had 29 degrees Celsius, which is like, 85 degrees Fahrenheit body temperature. So
that's really good, by the way. You guys are doing this math really good, going between metric and imperial. That's pretty good. I got to give you credit.
So we decided to take those 2 to the hospital first. When we dropped them off at the hospital, well, we tried to localize another boat because they said we asked them, what were you doing on the buoy? Our boat was sinking. And we were like, oh, okay, where? But they don't have a clue where they are, somewhere out at sea. So we flew out at sea again and we tried to localize them. We found them finally. Now already the engine was broke off because those little boats, they're trying to get to the other side. There are too many people in it. I'm talking about between 30 and 60 people sometimes in boats that are equipped for maybe 10 persons maximum. So their engine was already broken off. It was only semi-inflated. There were people hanging onto the boat, but already in the water. And when they saw our helicopter, they started jumping in the water. They had small life jackets on, but it was very clear that they couldn't really swim. So even with a small life jacket, they were in complete panic, and they were not really fighting, but they were swimming one on top of the other and pushing the other one backwards. So they saw me coming out of the helicopter because we decided, okay, the guys who are in the water, the Coast Guard was already contacted and they were on their way with a bigger ship. But we had to get the guys who were in the water out of the water. But they were guys were pushing each other underwater and backwards just to be the first one to get to me. So we really had to make a decision. Okay, not there are 4 or 5 together. Let's take the one who's alone on the left, because otherwise you as the search and rescue person can get into the water into trouble as well. So that was quite hectic at the moment. And the people were so panicked. I remember one guy who I didn't really have to use a horse collar. He was so tensed. He took my body, and I had to tear him off my body in the helicopter. So much panic in those people's eyes.
Wow.
Jason, don't forget also, if we're talking about water here in the North Sea, the water temperature would never get warmer than 20 degrees Celsius. What's what I'll say?
That's a high peak summer, 2021 max. You can have here most of the time of the year, we're talking about 12, 13 degrees.
For instance, the water now is 10 degrees at the beginning of July. That's the beginning of the summer. The water will be 15 degrees.
Oh,
so
that's cold.
If you fall here into the water, you will get very quickly hypothermic. If you cannot swim by hyperventilation, you will drown very easily. So that's why people are falling into the water here. It's a struggle for life. We will never get like in the Bahamas or somewhere else, like 29 degrees. It doesn't happen here.
So off the top of my head, 10 degrees is about 50 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So
like 15 degrees difference.
Or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Out of curiosity for gear, are you guys wearing dry suits or do you have thick neoprene?
Depends on the time of the year.
Yes.
Okay.
It goes from like 4.5 millimeter wetsuits to 7 millimeter wetsuit to complete dry suits. Depends on if it's in winter or if it's in summer.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you have to take an account from February on, January, February, when the water is cold, you use a dry suit.
That's a bit the issue in our job as well. We do what rescue swimmers do. We go into the water, we go on board of the ship. But if you're like in hot summer, when it maybe becomes almost 30 degrees here, then if you have to work in your 7 millimeter or in your dry suit, you're sweating. It's like running a marathon at the moment. So that's not easy. But if you take your 4.5 millimeter, which is good for the work on board and for surface swimming, if you have to go underwater, it becomes problematic because it will be too cold to do a diving mission.
Right.
But you can't just say to the crew, okay, wait a second, which kind of mission do we have? Oh, wait, then I will take this out of my wardrobe. No, you just choose the suit you leave with and do whatever you have to do at the moment.
Wow. All right, so I got to back up to your case here for a second, Kurt. So let me go to the two that were stuck on the buoy. So you were talking about, when you say a buoy, you're talking about the shipping lanes, navigation buoy for the ship. So, and for those people that don't know, they are like 8 to 10 feet. So about 3 meters out of the water. And they're moving with the current. They're not standing still. So you hoisted directly to the top of the buoy.
Yeah.
Oh my! You know what? That's mad props to your hoist operator and your pilots. That's precision hoisting right there, because that sucker is moving. Well done.
I'm 100% sure if the cabin operator will listen to this podcast, he will start laughing right now because it was quite difficult hoisting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. If you banged off it once or twice, well, our bad.
It worked out quite well, to be honest. You did a good job.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. All right. So now the people that were in the raft. So you've got you said 20 people that are in this little inflatable boat.
Oh, yeah, I think it was more like 40 to 50 people.
Oh my gosh. All right. So let's go 50 because this is our podcast, your podcast. And you know what? We want to make you like badasses. So 50 people in the raft fighting all over each other. You're using a quick strap or a horse collar to get them out. You stay connected to the hook the whole time to go down and get them. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
So not everybody was struggling. It were the people who were jumping into the water. So the other ones were still attached on the boat, and the Coast Guard was on their way. They were there like in maximum 10 minutes, I think they were there. And during that time, I took out 5 more persons out of the water.
All right. And other than that, did you have to battle anybody else in the water, or was it pretty relatively?
Well, it's always kind of a battle because you have to imagine these guys they're not tired. They haven't been in the water for like hours. So they're completely panicked. They still are very strong. And the person who thinks he's going to die is a very, very, very strong person. So it's always kind of a battle because they don't do what you ask them to do, of course. They don't understand what a horse collar is.
Right. My money's still on you. I think you're going to win. I'm just going to throw that out there. If I was a betting man, I'm betting on you.
If we train with the Air Force for like crew members who are ditched into the water, we learn them to like how you pray. You keep your hands like you're praying, and when you see us coming, just put your hands in the horse collar. That's easy. That goes very fast. But if you have people like that in the water who think they're gonna die, they're gonna drown, they just want to grab you. That's just it. You are their lifeline. You're their buoy. So you're with that horse collar over there. You just try to get them under their arms. So yes, it's always kind of a struggle. It's true.
That's hilarious. One of the things they teach us in swimmer school is if you have a panic victim like that, take them underwater because the last place they want to be is underwater. Do you guys get similar?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So for everybody that didn't know that, take somebody that wants to drown underwater. They don't want to be underwater, so they'll let you go. Or that's the rumor anyway.
It's true. It's a basic lifeguard lesson. Huh? Go underwater with the victim and they'll relax.
Yeah, exactly. If they pass out, then even better. It makes it easier for you. Hey, we can revive them. It's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you got 5 more people out of the water with that one, and then the Coast Guard showed up.
Yeah.
Where do you end up taking the people that you picked up out of the water? Just back to
the
base?
The first 2 with the hypothermia will be dropped off at the hospital.
Okay.
And the other 5, the Coast Guard, when they came, we put them on the ship with the rest of the we hoisted them on the ship. So we hoisted them out of the water and then hoisted them back onto the ship.
With a horse collar, or do you have a different
horse collar?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys by chance use a rescue basket as well, or just a horse collar?
No. We have a stretcher, and we have 2 kind of horse collars. One which is the normal, we all know, the normal horse collar, where you're like normal up, and when the other one is a hypothermic strap.
Okay.
Is when you're horizontal, when you have persons that you can hoist up horizontally it's necessary that you immobilize them in a stretcher. It goes a lot quicker, and it's actually very comfortable.
So I use. Okay, so is it? I'm actually really curious about this because I do a similar technique. A hypothermic lift, but we use 2 straps or. Yeah.
Yes.
One around. Okay. Same thing. So one around the chest, one around under the knees, and you're in like a lazy boy position Okay. It's a brilliant technique. I wish I could say I came up with it, but I didn't. So awesome. Well, man, these stories are amazing, you guys. I'm blown away by them. I do want to get into a little bit of your training and what you guys go through. And I know I've had you on here for a little bit already, but if you guys don't mind, just touch on a little bit of like how you train to get to where you're at, either, right from the beginning.
Well, if you can't become a search and rescue diver just by entering the military forces. You have to be in the military forces, and then you can put yourself on the selection list.
Apply for it.
Yeah, you can apply to become a search and rescue diver. So what we don't want to have, we don't choose for very young guys, because like we told you before, we also go underwater alone, or not always, but you can go underwater alone. And when you're on a scene, you become an on-scene commander. So we expect you to have some responsibility. With other words, a bit of age as well. So no 20-year-olds. And so everybody comes from one or other unit.
You can say it's no young punks. It's cool.
No young punks. But first you have to open, of course, the selection procedure, which takes about 6 months. You can apply, and then you have to do certain tests, like everybody everywhere has to do, medical tests, physical tests, etc. And when you're selected, you will have to follow the master diving school in the Navy. So with all master divers in the military follow the same school, either as a private or either as a NCO or officers. NCO and officers do the same training, and it's the master diver training school is 10 months. 10 months of becoming a dive master. So after 10 months, you become a dive master. It's not the most easy course.
Yeah.
So
no.
Not everybody succeeds in that during that course.
Yeah, we have to start every year with 20 guys on the 1st of January, and the attrition is certainly a dropout of more than 50%.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like our school too.
Yeah. So first you have the selection. That's like the first obstacle. Then you have diving master school, which is the second obstacle. And then you go to the squadron, the 48th squadron. And then you do your search and rescue diver. But the search and rescue diving is not, during that course, the diving aspect is not the most important thing. It's working with the helicopter. So also everything the rescue swimmer does is working with the helicopter, assisting the medic, doing all the hoistings, working with the stretcher, with the hose core in the water from the ship, and definitely evaluating how to do certain hoisting operations. So when you're on board, you will get all different cases, and okay, this is this kind of patient. Organize it. He is over there. That's the problem. That's the problem with the ship. This is the problem into the water. Deal with it. So that's another 10 months of training.
Holy.
And if you succeed, you become a search and rescue diver.
Yeah. If you succeed, yes. I like that. Wow. Another side note question, because I know there's like the flying and diving and flying kind of rules that your basic rules you're following. When you guys do a dive, and I know you said it's shallow most of the time, but when you get hoisted back into the aircraft, is there a minimum altitude that they have to maintain in order to get back to shore, or because you've been underwater?
Well, they know they have to fly as low as possible.
Okay.
They will fly, well, within the limits, of course, they will fly the low altitude flight.
Yeah. Ah, nice. Are you guys free falling? Do you guys do or helocast? No helocast. Everything's hoisted down. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, just checking. The movie had you guys free falling out of the aircraft. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Oh, jumping on the ship?
No, jumping like out into the water.
Jumping.
Oh, jumping. Yes, we do. Yes.
Oh, okay.
We call it heli jump.
Oh,
yes, we do
okay.
it. Yes, no problem.
All right. Do you do it with dive tanks as well, or just hoist it?
No.
Okay. I just, hey, you never know. Like, I've seen some weird stuff out there, Like,
but you have to, the helicopter flies when you jump out of the helicopter, so it's not in a hover state. If you do that with your diving equipment on, I think they can send another diver to get you out. That's just, that's really crazy.
Yeah.
If you're hoisted up from out of the water after a diving exercise or mission, it's like there are two cables on your body, one that's pulling you out of the water and one that's pulling you down into the water again. It's really tough. It's very, very heavy.
Are you guys, just out of more curiosity as far as gear goes, when you guys connect, because I know like all the rigging, your BCDs and then your tanks on your back, your regulators, are you connecting more towards the upper chest or down by the waist when you connect to the hoist hook?
Upper chest.
Upper chest. Yeah. All right, to keep you upright, and that'll keep you as upright as possible with all the tanks.
Yes, because don't forget, you have the weight of your tanks pulling on your back. The lower you will go with your connection point, the more you will have the gravity that pulls you back in.
Yeah.
And you'll be flat underneath the helicopter, roll into a spin in like 30 seconds. I
don't know if you've seen the NH90 already in real.
It has
an incredible downwash.
Downwash, yes.
We used to go with the seeking helicopter. We used to go next to the stretcher during the hoistings up and down. With the NH90, we don't do it anymore because you start twisting all the time. So now we use a highline.
Wow.
And because of it's purely because of the downwash of the NH90.
Yes.
It's pretty impressive.
Wow. I'm looking forward to getting on that aircraft at one point or another. It is a beautiful aircraft. I know we just had a guy from France that had come on and he was flying that as well. Beautiful aircraft. So, man, this has been awesome. I've been stoked on all this. Guys, these stories just have blown my mind. What you guys do in Belgium, I just want to come hang out with you. All right. Is that cool? Can I do that?
Of course. Always welcome.
Yes. Can we go diving? My wife will not want to go, but I want to go. So
we'll take you out diving. Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Guys, I really do appreciate all the information and all the stories today. I will definitely keep in touch with you guys, and you guys are welcome back anytime. I promise you that.
Okay. Jason, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Hey, Filip, before I let you go, I see you cut off the tip of your finger. What happened to yours? Because I cut mine off too. Two of them. What did you do?
I explained this one.
It was a shock, a really big shock, and I jammed my fingers into it.
I worked on the most dangerous place in the world, your house, your garden. And when I was cutting my edge, I fell down from a platform and cut my 2 fingers with my equipment.
Oh my gosh.
Normally when I'm in the pub drinking, I say I was attacked by a shark while doing an incredible rescue mission. But then all people say, no, it's not true. It is from his garden cutting his edge. Yeah.
You know what? We're going to go with a shark story because that's what I tell everybody too. How'd you lose the tip of your finger? Shark.
Much better.
A big shark. Oh, I love it. Thanks, guys. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real ResQ podcast. Please take a minute to like, subscribe, and hit that share button. I'm pulling chocks and taking off. But before I go, if anyone out there has a rescue story they would be willing to share, I would be humbled and honored to have you on as a guest. Or if you have any questions about rescue or anything else we talk about here, send an email to jason@therealresq.com. That's Jason at TheRealResQ.com. You can also check us out on our web pages, therealresq.com, our Facebook page, and our Instagram page @TheRealResQ. Again, a special thank you to all of you staying on the watch today. Always remember, when that SAR alarm goes off, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. Until next time, fly safe and swim hard.